Good afternoon. This is the Town of Ayer Rate Review Committee meeting for Monday, March 15th, 2021 at 4 p.m. This is an open session remote participation meeting agenda. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Baker issued an emergency order temporarily suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law. Public bodies otherwise governed by the open meeting law are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be broadcast live on Channel 8 and on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by following the call-in information on the bottom of the live broadcast screen. For the Zoom meeting information relating to remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager at atm@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220 prior to the meeting. For the public's benefit, I will introduce the members of the Rate Review Committee as chaired by Selectman Janice Livingston. Mr. Mark Smith is the representative from the FinCom and the Vice Chair of the FinCom. Ms. Pam Martin, the DPW Business Manager, Ms. Lisa Gabri, the Town's Finance Manager, Mr. Mark Wetzel, the DPW Superintendent, Mr. Rich Scotchless, and I'm Robert Pomperian, the Town Manager. The agenda for the public's benefit will be a call to order, a review and approval of the previous meeting minutes from February 23rd, a review, discussion, and vote on recommendations for the proposed FY22 solid waste transfer station rates, a review discussion of the public presentation for the FY22 water sewer solid waste rate recommendations to the Select Board on March 16th, 2021 at 6 p.m. And we will be using the shared screen for that. Any new business that the committee may have, the scheduling of the next meeting, and then the adjournment. So with that, I'll turn it over to Selectman Livingston to call the meeting to order.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see everyone again. So the first agenda item is the review and approval of the previous meeting minutes from February 23rd. I didn't see anything. I don't know if anyone else saw anything.
I did not see anything.
Okay, if I can get a motion for the meeting minutes.
I make a motion that we approve the Rate Review Committee meeting minutes from February 23rd, 2021.
I'll second it.
Okay, so all those in favor, I'm going to do a roll call vote. Mark,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
and the chair says aye. Do I need to call anybody else, Robert, for those?
Lisa,
Lisa, okay, I just want to make sure. Lisa,
Pam,
Pam,
Aye.
Mark
Mark.
Wetzel.
Aye.
All right, meeting minutes are approved.
great. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so when we last left off, we decided to have this meeting so that we can look at the proposed FY 2022 transfer station rates. Now, when we last talked in, I think it was October, it was decided not to raise the transfer station permit rates. And we thought at that time we would only be looking at the bag rates. But now Lisa has brought some concerns to us as far as for raising the permit rates. If that is the decision that is made and is approved by the Select Board tomorrow, then this would not go into effect until the new permits are, so we would just be telling you like months in advance what the new rate was going to be if that's what's going to be decided. Is that correct?
Can I clarify, are we presenting this to the Select Board tomorrow night?
Well, that would be the other question. Because I'm a little confused now. I mean, I know we've discussed it and everything, but then after being away for a little while, I kind of was getting myself a little confused as to what we're doing and why we're doing this. I know that it was discussed that we need to tell the Department of Revenue if we are going to increase the rates, because evidently which confuses me. And I'll tell you why it confuses me. If we've been doing the transfer station rates in the fall so that they go into effect, as soon as the permits, we'll say January 1st of the following year, why is there now a concern about telling the DOR now? Is that because we didn't do it in the fall?
Right.
Which then begs the
Correct.
question, does that mean the DOR does not want us to ever say no? Because this is, I'm getting a little mixed message, which could be that I did to myself.
All right, so the fiscal year goes from July 1st through June 30th.
Correct.
So you take a vote in the fall, DOR recognizes that because I'm reporting it, it gets on the annual town meeting and it gets approved, if it's approved. So if it's at a town meeting, it has to be at a town meeting that it's approved. Okay, in order.
I think you froze for a second there. I think we missed some of what you said.
So did you hear the beginning, which is?
I heard you say the fiscal year.
Right. So when you took the vote this past fall, you didn't take your vote not to raise the transfer station stickers. So now I have no way when we go to annual town meeting to increase the revenues to cover the cost. We know we're short by like $42,000, according to what we know at this point. And we haven't decided yet not to raise the price of the bags. And I think that's what Mark was looking at as far as an increase effective July 1st, I believe, right, Mark?
Right.
Right, but in the fall, when we discussed it, the fall was for the transfer station rates. It was decided not to. And we went to the board and we says, we've made a recommendation. We're not going to raise the rates. But that we think that we may have to start talking, like in the spring about the bag rates.
And here it is, the spring.
Yeah.
Right, so I guess
That's what we're talking
the
about
problem
today.
is that, was there something missing in our discussion in the fall as to the shortfall that we've ended up with?
No,
No, I think it was on purpose. I think it was a conscious decision on our part to, the
Defer.
phrase I'll just use is kick the can down the street to see where we were with the budget when March came around. So that we would be prepared for the next town meeting to say, okay, because of the budget and the shortfall, we need to take action to do this now.
that's how I remember it too, Mark.
Well, yeah, it had to do with COVID, right, because everything was closed and whatnot. I agree. I just want to make sure that, because this means in the fall, we'll have already, if this is what's decided in the fall, we're not going to be doing the transfer station permit discussion unless, well, no, that would be for the following year. So never mind what I just said.
Right.
I have the town fiscal year and then I have the federal government fiscal year. And sometimes I get my fiscal years a little confused. And then we have the calendar year, which is what the transfer station is. And we changed the clocks yesterday. So, okay. All right.
So, Madam Chair,
Yeah.
so Lisa, why don't you give an overview of the deficit situation and what the impacts would be? Obviously, if we take no action, and then we'll talk about the potential options the potential options to be recommended for the select board to consider.
So I believe at our last meeting, I had prepared an estimated budget showing the $42,000 shortfall.
Mhm.
And basically it's because the revenues from transfer station stickers are not coming in like we expected. The bags are coming in over what we expected, but we're still short to some degree. So at this time, I believe Mark's considering, or would like to consider an increase in the bags as opposed to, and probably using some of the retained earnings that's within the fund itself. But you have to remember that this fund is very tight, so to speak, and it has $113,000 of free cash right now. So we can use a percentage of that, but I would never recommend to use, Mark's maybe suggesting 35,000 because that's what we use in FY21, and I don't have an objection to that. But we also have an issue that's coming up that we purchase bags from a vendor who's planning to increase the price substantially. And at least from my last notice from Pam and Mark. And I know that Pam is doing some work as far as getting other bids, but so we can justify an increase in the bags because the town's going to have to increase their bag, increase costs for the bags. So we have a couple of options. We can use some free cash. We certainly could use it all to by funding it from retained earnings, the whole $42,000, but I don't think that would do you any good for future years. It's sort of like a leveling off the price increases is what we're trying to do. I don't know if I have anything further to say.
Well, I don't know if it's just on my end, but Lisa, you seem like you keep freezing or cutting out. So
I don't
I'm
understand
missing
that.
pieces of what you're saying. So what is the balance you're saying that we have,
It's roughly $42,000 that we have to find.
Oh. And what's in the fund?
The total retained earnings is $113,000.
It's 113,000 and we would owe 14.
So you have that option too. You could fill the whole thing with the $42,000 with the retained earnings and then choose to do no increase this year. I'm not sure what next year will look like with the possible increase in and the bags that we're going to experience.
With a projected increase in the cost of bags and projected sales, how much are we short then? If the vendor's going to increase, the cost of the bags, it only makes good business sense that we're going to have to pass that on to somebody, the consumer. So we're going to pass that on, but plus we're going to have to add on another amount to be able to make up for the deficit. So with all that said,
Let me just say this, the last time we purchased bags was in March of 2020. So, and it was $10,000 then for 144 boxes of bags. Obviously, we build up our inventory at the end of the year too, and it's covered most of this year. So it kind of skews things a little, but I think the best person to ask about this is probably Mark Wetzel. So I would look for his response.
Can I ask a question before Mark? Maybe he can answer it.
Yes,
Sure.
Okay.
When does this increase from the bags, the maker, go into effect?
Last week.
Last week, okay.
So they notified us that the inventory. So the way it works is we purchase a certain number of bags and then they coordinate with the stores and send them out to the stores. And they give us occasional updates on inventory, and they notified us about a week and a half ago that the inventories were getting very low and we needed to place another order. And oh, by the way, because of COVID and trucking costs and all these other things, our prices have gone up. And so we looked at what our options were and what we have in the budget, and we ordered, and correct me if I'm wrong, Pam, we ordered small and medium bags and no large bags.
correct.
So we're still going to, at some point, need to order more bags, but we're going to solicit from 3 vendors some prices and see what they are. It's not an easy task to change vendors because then all the stores have to re-up with whoever the new vendor is, and there's a little bit of coordination involved with that. But we figured we'd get some different prices. But the other demographic that's factoring into this is, we sell our permits for in the fall and into early January, and we're about so last year at the end of or in FY20, we sold a total of 1,418 for the whole year. This year we're only at 1,120, so we're short about 300. And I don't think we're going to make up. We're not going to sell 300 more stickers before the end of this year. So the demographics are changing. We're getting less people participating. So we have certain fixed costs, so the price just goes up. And then on top of that, we need to go out for a contract for our waste and recycling disposal. So I'm assuming those costs are going to go up. I was given some information that the town of Harvard went out for bids, and they had one that was a little bit more than what we're paying now, but the other bids were a lot higher. So so that could be a sticker shock also.
So through
A
the,
sticker shock, but a rate increase shock.
Well, I mean, I've already put a budget together, and I put in a modest increase based on our past trends. But if it's a significant increase, then we're going to have a shortfall in the budget. So that 40,000 that Lisa's talking about might be 50,000.
Okay. Sorry, Robert.
no, I was just going to ask then, Mark, obviously with the decrease in the stickers, and I agree with you that you're not going to make that up at this time. What are you looking at for a potential recommendation on the bags?
Well, so I looked at 10 different. I have a model, and I can plug in different scenarios, and so I looked at 10 different combinations of whether they were permit increases or bag increases or a combination of both. And I looked at how much revenue we would generate to meet our current budget or FY 2022 budget. And so the one that is just a bag increase is $1 per bag per size.
$1 per bag per size.
Yeah, do you have the memo that has that on it? If not, I can put it up.
Can you put that up, please?
I
The second-
sent it, but
I don't know, did Cindy get it?
I did not. I have the presentation.
Okay, let me pull mine up, and then you can let me share.
Mark, that would be an additional $5 per sleeve of 5, correct?
$5 per bag, not per
Right.
sleeve.
Well, there's, right, and there's 5 sleeves in a bag.
Right. Oh, so it's 5. It would be a $5 increase per sleeve. Is it
Okay.
five for each size?
Yes,
All right. Let's see.
So-
Where am I?
So it's going from $20 to $25.
for that
Yes.
size.
So, all right, so what I'm hearing is that COVID has helped cause some of this problem. So is there any money that we can get out of the COVID relief? Because it caused this problem. Okay, that answered that question. Lisa's shaking her head.
not that I'm aware of.
Okay. The bags are kind of almost problematic. I mean, yes, they're pay as you go, but these bags are just getting more and more costly. I mean, think about it. You're buying, there's 5 bags in the sleeve, right? And now you're going to be buying,
Yes.
you're going to be spending $25 on 5 bags, regardless of what size, it doesn't matter. We're gonna, and depending on what size you're buying, you're getting, that can be a pretty hefty increase for a family. And the sad part is that if you were just to go buy a bag of Hefties, you're not going to be spending that kind of money. So I'm going to ask this question, and I know that no one's going to like me asking this question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Are the bags so problematic that we should go back to the little stickers?
No. I think, I wasn't here when we were doing the stickers, but I think the stickers are problematic because it's hard to police. Because we don't have someone just standing there watching everybody put their bag in and make sure there's a sticker on it. So you're gonna have people that are gonna, I mean, we still have people that try to sneak in black trash bags. If they see the operator come over, then, you know, oh, they'll put it in the blue bag, but if not, they'll throw something in. If it's a sticker, they're gonna keep the sticker in their pocket until someone checks on it.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but think of it. You're talking about a 50-gallon trash bag that costs $6.
Well, the $6 isn't for the cost of the bag. The $6 is the cost of the operation of the transfer station.
I understand that. But
So,
when
you know,
somebody's
what we
standing there
have to
purchasing
realize,
their bags, they're not going to remember that part.
Right.
They're just
But
going to remember that this bag costs them $6.
well, and they have a way to get rid of their trash. You know, their alternative is that they call a private hauler and have someone come by and pick it up, and then they pay a monthly fee. You know, we could put all the price. I mean, we get people complaining about the price of our permits now,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember when we went up. What did we go up? $5 last time? Oh, it was the end of the world.
Yep.
And
Well, we also
so-
lowered the senior citizen age.
but so what we have to realize is that it costs money to do this, and at some point, you know, we can either subsidize it off the taxes and keep the prices the same, or we make it more of a pay as you throw. The advantage of doing a permit increase on your bags is that it encourages people to recycle it, encourages people to compost, it encourages people to conserve their solid waste, and then that results in a savings for us because we don't have as much tonnage that we're hauling. So, you know, it's the same with you know, you get a high water and sewer bill, then, you know, don't water your lawn. You know, it's basically conservation. So I understand it's expensive, but getting rid of our solid waste has gotten a lot more expensive over the last 5 years.
Oh, it absolutely has. It absolutely has. But, you know, that's why we have this committee, to have these conversations.
So the other reason why I like the bag increase as opposed to the permit increase is, number one, we know how much we pay for disposal of our waste is based on how much is disposed of at the transfer station, which is directly related to the number of bags. And number two is, if we put in a bag increase on July 1, then we have a whole year of generating that revenue and seeing what's happening. Plus, we can see if we need to raise the permits at mid-year. You know, right now we don't really know how much revenue we're going to generate from permits and if it's going to continue to go down.
Mhm.
I do prefer, if we're going to do an increase, that it be on the bags, because I agree. I think that you can, each individual can start paying attention to what they're putting in the bag versus, you know, like you said, compost and whatnot. I do agree that I think it's a little more controllable. So what do we want to do?
Well, through the chair, I mean, obviously, I think it's in everybody's best interest. We obviously have to resolve this $42,000 deficit. And so we should, you know, act in that direction. The question is, if we went and I agree, Janice, with you and Mark, with you said about the bags. My question is, Lisa, based on Mark's dollar increase on all of the three sizes, is there any way to mitigate that with some of the retained earnings, or is that with the retained earnings?
That
I believe-
assumes, that
Go ahead,
assumes
Mark.
that we're using $35,000 of retained earnings.
Okay, so that assumes 35,000 use of retained earnings. I mean, nobody likes an increase,
I
but
prefer the bags
yeah,
to permit.
I mean, Yeah.
Plus the bag effect, new bag price, it wouldn't go into effect until July 1st, or would we put it into effect earlier than that?
Until July 1st.
so I,
Okay.
okay,
I don't think we
So-
could I don't think we could physically do that before July 1st.
Okay,
Mhm.
just wanted to make sure.
The vendors, the stores and our bag manufacturer need at least 30 days
Okay.
to implement a increase.
so it's safe to say July 1st would be the effective date.
So this is just a question. So like a run on toilet paper. If the public gets word that there's going to be a $5 per sleeve increase, will we be able to handle a run on people stocking up?
Not
on-
right now.
So we theoretically, we could run out of bags before we have a new inventory of bags.
We could consider limiting how many can be purchased at a time. I think Shop and Save is actually doing that on their own with their town bags. They handle 2 or 3 towns, but I did see a sign in there, limit to 3 sleeves. We might want to consider doing that anyways, because raising the bag prices has a specific purpose. And if they're bought ahead at the current price, we're not achieving that goal of bringing in additional revenue.
I don't have any problem with somebody limiting the number of bags, sleeves that they can buy.
I agree. All right, so are we all in consensus about raising the bag prices? $1 per each size bag?
$1 per bag per sleeve. So every sleeve would go up $5.
Yeah,
How many are a sleeve?
5.
I actually think the math might work if you did it just $1 per sleeve. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know how that, yeah, I don't know. Right, because we're not really short all of that $300,000 because there is, I anticipate $120,000 in permit fees. So we don't have to raise all of that. Part of it was still going to get in permit fees. And that's reduced from what we budgeted last year because of the reduction in sales this fiscal year. So I think we could probably do it per sleeve if that doesn't get too complicated with the vendor.
you're saying, Lisa, $1 a sleeve.
Yeah,
So from $20 a sleeve to $21 a sleeve for the large size, the large 50 gallon.
That doesn't get you the revenue you need.
are you sure, Mark? Because I think you were considering the permits as well as the stickers. I mean, as well as the bags.
I looked at 10 different scenarios and we need about a little over $300,000 in revenue from bags and permits.
And permits.
Bags and
And
permits
permits.
combined.
Oh, so this bag increase that highlighted is bags and,
The permits stay the same, the bags
Right.
go up $1.
oh, so I was misinterpreting what you're saying here.
So,
That already has the 100. I should reduce the 120,000 out or whatever that I anticipated for, because they're two different things. So I account for them separately, right? You have to.
well, so you can look, you see at our current rates,
302,000.
we're making about 290,000 in revenue from our bags and
And permits.
permits. And then I look at, okay, if I just if I keep the bags the same and increase the permits $5, it goes up to this. If I increase only the regular permits $10 and keep the other two with the same, the second and the senior, this is how much it generates. You know, so I look at the different options, and then I start down here looking at bag increases and permit increases. So if you went up each permit by $5 and a bag by $1, that's how much you get. So basically, to get around over the 300,000, you either have to do a permanent. You can do a permit increase of $5 and a bag increase of 50 cents.
Oh, I see. All right.
And, so
Interpreting your memo.
if you did $1 per sleeve, you're only raising it 20 cents. So
Okay.
you'd probably wouldn't be much different. It'd probably be you'd be probably around $293,000.
Okay, now I totally misinterpreted what your rate scenarios here. Never mind.
Okay.
Fine, we have to stick to the $1 per bag then, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, you could
Well, I mean, again,
you could do a permit increase of $5 and a bag increase of 50 cents. I don't know how problematic the 50 cents is, because that's $2.50 a sleeve. Now
It's a little problematic. It can be done. We've done it before, but it's different and, a little problematic.
need a lot of quarters.
We had a lot of quarters because people, don't come in with their quarters, so we end up needing to have quarters. But again, we've done it. It's not ideal, but it can be done. I don't think the vendors care at all. They get a UPC code in every sleeve, so that should be a non-issue for the stores.
well, I think it should just be a bag increase, because it sounds like it's the bags
Mm-hmm.
that are the problem per se. I really, I hesitate raising the permits every year, because that just, it comes across, we know the truth, but it comes across to some that aren't necessarily paying attention to the day by day, because they have lives, there are things going on, that, we don't have a handle on it, when it's really the bags, because the bags are being driven by outside people, which are causing, the increases and whatnot. And for some people, if they're only using the small bag, then maybe they would go to the medium-sized bag, which would another way of them controlling their costs, and then they're just having a slightly bigger bag and maybe not going to the transfer station as often. I don't know. That's an individual's thing.
For discussion sakes, I agree with a no permit increase and a dollar per bag increase.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, with if it gets approved, it's not going to take an effect till July 1st. So there will be some that'll be surprised, but for the most part, we'll be able to get the word out there, so there won't be too much of a sticker shock. People will kind of be prepared. So.
Our recycling couldn't be any easier. So if there are people who still aren't recycling, it literally could not be easier for people to recycle up there. So we'll heavily encourage them, if they're not recycling, to give it a shot.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. All right, any further discussion on this?
We would just need
All
a
right.
recommendation.
Yep, I'll take a motion.
I make a motion that we present to Board of Selectmen
Mhm.
a per bag increase of $1 per bag to be effective the 1st of July, 2021.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All right, roll call vote. Mark Smith,
Aye.
Mark Wetzel,
Aye.
Pam Martin,
Aye.
Rich Scottless,
Aye.
Lisa Gabri,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
and the chair says aye. All right, we will be bringing this recommendation to the board tomorrow night.
Okay.
Do you want a presentation for the board?
Scott,
If you could have, it shouldn't be, yeah. Can you do up one for tomorrow?
Yeah, just take last year's and change the numbers.
why don't we?
Then that works.
Mark, we'll put it as part of the presentation we're going to go over right now. We'll do a slide.
Okay.
So,
All right,
so through the chair, the next item, and I'll have Mark Wetzel through the chair walk us through it quickly, is a review of the public presentation for tomorrow's select board meeting, and a special thanks to Mark Wetzel and Lisa Gabri for putting this together. So we wanted the committee to take a look at it, and if there are any questions or edits or so forth, please let us know. So, and we're going to use the shared screen, I think, and Mark will give us a overview. And we will add the appropriate slide or slides to this based on this recommendation on the solid waste recommendation with the bags.
all right.
All right, Cindy, are you running this or do you want me to?
Whatever you like.
Why don't Cindy just take it away?
I'll
Sure.
take it away. Give me 3 seconds.
So this presentation is basically the one I used last year. I added some information. Lisa updated a lot of the numbers, but it kind of gives a little background on why water and sewer is perceived as being expensive. I think it's a bargain, but anyway. Next slide, please. So I just give a quick agenda of what we're going to be presenting. Next slide.
So you'll want to update the agenda to mention the transfer
Right.
station.
Yep.
Okay,
And give everybody here credit. I'm going to also recommend that we double our committee stipend.
Times.
from 0 to 0.0?
to 0 times 0, correct. Next slide. So these are the meeting goals: set our sewer rates for FY22 and set our water rates for FY22. I think I have that reversed. I think we do water first, but I'll double check that. Next slide, please. So just a little bit on Ayer DPW, water and wastewater. For a town this size, we're pretty unique that we have, full water and wastewater to the majority of the town. I think we're probably 95% water and 90% on sewer, which is pretty rare for communities of our size and this location. So we focus on water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. With this COVID, it was pretty interesting because, one of the issues is if any of our operators get sick, then we don't have anyone to make the water, and then the town really has the problem. But so we these are, and I'll go through some of these in a little more detail tomorrow night. So, anyways, next slide, please. So the Ayer water system was constructed in 1895. We serve about 3,200 customers, 50 miles of pipe, 5 wells, 2 treatment plants, and 2 water storage tanks.
Where was that pumping station?
That's right at the corner of East Main Street and Harvard Road, just before you go into the where the where the road split
Yeah.
one way going into the rotary.
Ah.
And the wells used to be over where Canes is, or American Superconductor. So it was a well field over there that was pumped from here. Next slide. And you know, we've been really focusing lately on PFAS contamination, but prior to that, as everybody knows, we have had a lot of infrastructure issues because we've got pipes that are put in 1895. So we do have some water quality problems. We have a lot of iron and manganese in our wells, in our water, that we need to remove for our treatment plant. The wells require a lot of maintenance. They tend to plug up with the iron and manganese. And then on top of that, we have a lot of regulations. All of our operators have licenses. They have to go to school. They have to take a test. We have to do monthly reports. And we test for over 100 water quality parameters on an annual basis. Next slide. So the biggest rate driver right now is our PFAS treatment costs. I keep track of everything we've spent, and when I add everything up, including preliminary analysis, testing, designs, we're up to about $11.5 million so far. The Grove Pond PFAS treatment plant, which is completed, is $4.4 million, and the Army paid for the majority of that. Some of the engineering costs that we covered before we got the grant, the town paid for. We're still trying to figure out how much it costs to operate and maintain it. It's a unique plant, so there's not a lot of information on what we need to do for chemical costs. For we have these special bag filters that pre-filter before we get into the PFAS removal, and how long the PFAS removal media will work. So we did a good guesstimate on it, but that's going to be kind of a moving target for probably a year or two. The Spec Pond PFAS treatment, it's cost $6.2 million. I'll show you a slide which shows why that's more expensive. We did get a grant for $200,000 towards the engineering cost. That was the maximum that the grant was for. And we have state revolving loan funding for the construction. And I think, is that about 1%, Lisa?
The interest, it's interest free, but there is some kind of admin fee that they add.
Yeah. Okay. All right, next slide. This is the new Grove Pond treatment facility. This is it here. This is our existing plant that removes the iron and manganese, and we did this building addition, and this is what's inside it. We have these two big ion exchange filters, so the water runs from the mineral removal plant. We have to we go through some bag filters that are just on the outside here, and then it goes through one filter and then through the other filter, then out into the system. We measure the PFAS in each filter at 25%, 50%, 75%, and so far it's been non-detected at 25%. Next slide. And this is the Spectacle Pond treatment facility that is under construction. They started in November. You can see you got wetlands on one side, and actually just on the other side here we have wetlands also. So it's a pretty tight site. There's a lot of stuff out there right now that we have to work around. That building in the foreground is going to be demolished probably in about 2 weeks, and that's where the new building is going to go. The sewer system was, the original sewer was constructed in 1945. We've got 34 miles of gravity sewer, 3.5 miles of force mains, 19 pump stations, and the pump stations are expensive to operate and maintain. We have to go out to most of them on a daily basis and make sure they're all operating properly. They all have pumps and motors and electric charges and sites that have to be maintained. And then we go to a pretty advanced tertiary wastewater treatment plant that removes all the pollutants, including nutrient removal. And then we used to dispose of our what they call wastewater biosolids, or sludge as is more commonly known, which is the solids that are removed. We used to dispose of those on site at a sludge landfill, but now we have it trucked away to a facility in Rhode Island.
Hey, Mark.
Yes.
Okay, so I know you've told us about the Rhode Island thing, and I'm sure you've looked, but at least so that it's on public record. Is there no place closer that we can have our sludge trucked to?
There's 3 or 4 different places, and we do use them all but the Cranston, Rhode Island is the least expensive and the least regulated. So we have taken it to Lowell, which is pretty expensive. So it's closer, but it costs a lot more. And they're very picky on, how much solids there are and what other stuff is in the sludge. But that's one of our backups. And then the other backup is the Upper Blackstone, which is basically it's Worcester's treatment facility. And that's pretty expensive also. So we've found that we basically put it out to bid with the contractor can take it to any place that's the most cost effective for him. So he shops around and picks the best place. The next slide. And then as I mentioned, it was a 1945 sewer system. So we have a lot of leaks in the system. We're starting to repair those. We have a program. We're in our second year of major repairs. They're just about to start them now. And we're also in the middle of a 10-year improvement program at the treatment plant to upgrade the plant. And, one of the things with the plant operation is we've got motors and pumps and mechanical equipment, and it's a lot of it's aging, a lot of it we've replaced. We try to maintain as much as we can, but stuff breaks, and so it does get costly to operate. We just had the mixer in one of our tanks failed, and it cost $12,000 to repair it. So it doesn't take much to blow a budget when something breaks. Next slide. So the criteria for the rates is to set rates to recover costs and avoid significant fluctuations. I think this committee's done a really good job of doing projections on what the costs are going to be and the future capital needs, and to have pretty consistent rate increases rather than have big spikes in the rate increases. We have a good stabilization reserve for each fund, and we use that as needed.
Mark, can I?
Yes, sure.
So you talked about the wastewater treatment plant improvements, but possibly town meeting, and certainly selectmen may remember that we've already spent $6 million in wastewater treatment plant improvements. So could you have a slide, and maybe you've already done this, on what those improvements were, like a short summary?
Sure.
Good idea.
Okay. So you can just skip over this one. It's just showing that there's a value to water. But also in the proposed budget, we include 2 new positions. These were recommended to provide more efficient operations and regulatory compliance. The first position is a 19-hour per week water and sewer billing clerk. Right now we have the business manager does the majority of the billing, and it takes a huge amount of her time, as well as we don't really have a backup. There's no one else that really understands the whole billing system. So with this position, it'll free up the business manager to do more efficient procurement of services and managing the actual business operations of the DPW. Then the other is the DPW Assistant Superintendent, who would be in charge of water and wastewater operations. That would be for budgets and regulatory reporting and compliance, as well as the overall operations. And right now, for me, that's just one of my part-time jobs, and it gets more and more complicated, and I end up spending more and more time every week on that, especially with the new regulatory requirements and the PFAS requirements. So the positions will add 1 cent to the water rate and 2 cents to the sewer rate. So they're very affordable.
So just to clarify what you just said, if for some reason these two positions were not approved, then we would be reducing the recommendation of the water and the sewer from 1 cent for the water and 2 cents for the sewer.
Yes.
I just want to make sure that it's clearly understood that the rates would actually pay for this. Okay.
Next slide, please.
I heard a
this
rumor
just-
Pam wants to go on vacation. That's why.
I think we all do.
Yeah.
This just the water division budget, and you can see over the last 3 years it's gone up, and actually we're
Could I just comment on
well,
FY 21 and 22 budget?
right.
If you look at the line regular debt, at that time, we weren't sure that we were gonna get clean water, whatever it is, trust funds at no interest. So you see that severely reduced. Yay, we got it. We know we got it. It's in writing, and there's an amortization schedule which already rolled into the regular debt. At that time in FY 21, we weren't sure. The best way to address it is to be conservative.
Does that mean we'll have
You
a
don't get it.
surplus? Lisa, does that mean we'll have a surplus in this year's budget?
Most likely, unless you use it on some other unexpected direct costs, but most likely there will be a surplus, which will only go help with the retained earnings, which could help for future years for other capital and construction needs. So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
One thing I'll say in the budget, I don't touch that debt number, because I know that's your that's your
I'm
number.
really the treasurer, but yeah, I have a lot. So
So
a lot of
those
input.
the last 3 line items in the budget, I just assume are going to be all be spent. So anyway, so that can be our reserve for next year. Next slide, and this just shows a breakdown of how our budget breaks down. You can see about 3/4 of it is wages, expenses, and regular debt. We have some indirect costs and some capital purchases and stabilization, but the wages, expenses, and debt are all about the same part of the budget. Next slide. And then this is our capital plan. It's actually pretty efficient. We've gotten into the habit of doing annual water main replacements. We've gotten a lot of grants for projects. You can see the item number 2, West Main Street MassWorks. We have $100,000 in there towards the water main replacement. Part of that, but the majority of that replacement on West Main Street is going to be paid for with a grant. We also are going to have the Washington Street water tank painting I put in for FY 24. We may be able to stretch a few more years out of that. We inspect that every other year and see what it's looking like. But the last time we inspected it, which was not last year, the year before, it's due this year, but was in pretty good shape. So we may be able to delay that a couple of years. And then the last item I have here, portable generator. One of the things that I started to get concerned about is we have generators at all of our facilities. So we have, we have a couple small portable generators, but they won't run the two water treatment plants or the wastewater plant or the big pumping stations. So I think it would really be for emergency response beneficial to have a large trailer mounted portable generator. And we may be able to buy that with grant money or buy that with as a regional project, a regional expense. But we've had to rent them on 3 different occasions for either the main pumping station, Central Ave, or the wastewater plant. And if we had a big disaster like they had in Texas last month, you wouldn't be able to find a portable generator and we'd be out of luck. So I think it's a good investment. Next slide. So the proposed rates for water are pretty reasonable. We have the 3 steps increasing. The first step increasing 7 cents, second step 9 cents, the third step 11 cents, and the conservation rate or the outdoor usage rate would be increasing 11 cents also. And that's per 3,000, or it's per 100 cubic feet, and each step is in 3,000 cubic foot increments. Next slide. Proposed sewer rates. This is one fancy screen for our sewer control system that runs out on the computer. Next slide. And you can see the budget. The debt increases every year based on our construction projects. The expenses are actually have gone down a little. I think we had some one-time expenses in last year's budget or in this year's budget. In fact, I know we do because I just was looking at those. And then we're also going to be renegotiating the Devon's flow and capital investment, which will take effect at the end of this calendar year. So next slide. The water and the wastewater division budget, you can see it's the debt is a lot more on this project, primarily because of the capital improvements that we're doing at the plant. So you can see it's as opposed to being about 25% of the budget, it's about 40% of the budget. Next slide. And here's our wastewater capital plan. You can see the first item, the inflow infiltration repairs. Those are the repairs to fix our aging sewer system. And then we have our water treatment plant upgrade project that's continuing over the next 5 years. You can see the portable generator that I have split with water. And we also have some aging valves and piping in our 2 large pumping stations that will need some repairs too. Next slide. So the sewer rates, primarily because of the upgrades to the treatment plant, are more significant than the water. So step 1 would be 41-cent increase. Step 2 would be a 47-cent increase, and step 3 would be a 53-cent increase. And Lisa, it says it's supplemented with 1.8 million of sewer retained earnings. Is that the right number?
There's $1 million towards the current year, and then there was, in this scenario, there was 400,000 in years out. So
Okay.
if that's confusing, we can just take that sentence out even.
Okay. I'll just say rate increases are offset with sewer retained earnings.
Partially offset.
Okay. All right, next slide. So what's the impact on the average Ayer resident? You can see what the proposed quarterly sewer is for water and sewer combined. So it'll have a quarterly increase of about 70 cents, $4.10, and $4.80. And that would be $2.80 for water, $16.40 for sewer, and a total of about $19.20 per year. So the rate committee recommends that the water and sewer commissioners, who are the select board, vote to increase water and sewer rates as proposed by the rate committee.
Okay. Thank you, Mark, for that overview.
We need to add, as far as on the summary that last slide, that it's not only that we're asking the select board to do the rate increases, but to also to approve the new positions.
Correct. It should be to recommend those rates and recommend those 2 positions for placement in the budget for consideration by town meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Because I don't want it to accidentally get lost.
Yeah.
Looks good. Just add in
Yeah.
the transfer station bag conversation. I think the presentation looks good. It's come a
Okay.
long way. I was just sitting here thinking about when I first started this committee as to what the presentation looked like to what it looks like now, and much more legible.
Well, I think, the point is to get across to people that even though rates are increasing, we have a lot of infrastructure that we have to maintain. It takes a lot of money to get that drop of water to your faucet, and then a lot of money to get that drop of water from your toilet to the Nashua River. And I had 2 weeks ago, I had a meeting with the EPA about it's a regular audit of some of our operations, but boy, they are picky. So I thought under the last administration that they were getting rid of regulations, but not these EPA guys. So.
Okay.
All right. Looks good.
All right.
All right. So unless there's any further discussion on that, I'm going to move on to any potential new business. And I would like to throw something out, unless somebody else has something to say under new business.
I just wanted to bring up, and I know this isn't really a rate committee issue, but I've been getting a lot of calls about if we're going to have an outdoor water ban this season. And I am telling people that at this point we are not. We have the new treatment plant at Grove Pond. We're able to use that supply. We will have our normal water restrictions with odd, even, and hours of the day, but I don't see any reason why people can't run their irrigation systems when they want to, unless we do have a mandated ban because of the drought. I got an email last Friday that the state has issued a declaration of a drought in western Massachusetts, and we are still behind on our annual precipitation. So that could be coming. I'd be surprised if it comes before the summer, but right now I wouldn't recommend to the select board that we institute the outdoor water ban.
Well, that's good news.
I have one question before you move on.
Mm-hmm.
When you approach the town meeting with a combined thing of hiring 2 people plus all the increases and everything, what happens if they turn that down for the 2 people? Does the increases go away too?
1 cent would get removed from the water and 2 cents would get removed from the sewer.
But not the increases.
Not the increases, just the amount of increase would decrease by 1 cent and 2 cents.
Thank you.
It might be beneficial to make sure everybody understands that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Good point.
Okay. All right, as far as new business, I want to throw this out here for everyone to think about, okay? In regards to the transfer station. So first, please understand that I still remember what it was like, what, 8 years ago now? When the transfer station was a very hot discussion, how upset people were, and the public forums that we had, the public hearings and everything, and they were very beneficial. So what I want to throw out is, first, I'm going to say this, I'm going to say it at least 3 times. I am not talking about closing the transfer station. I do not want to talk to close the transfer station. The transfer station is not closing. Okay, now let me get to what I would like to discuss. I'm wondering if maybe there is maybe we should look at it like a newer way of handling this. And I'm saying this because of the bags. Now, I know we know the bags make it easier to make sure that we're getting paid, for that rubbish when it gets to the transfer station. The bag prices are still problematic for some people, and it does drive some people away from the transfer station. So I'm wondering, and I'm throwing this out here for people to think about, and the next time we meet, we can discuss further. Should we maybe have some type of public hearings about the transfer station, everything that goes into it, the cost, why the permits are priced the way they are, why the bags are the way they are, to get it out there a little bit more. Now, I say this, if, after thought and discussion, it's decided to do something like this, I want it to where we're not on Zoom, where we can have people in a room. Okay, so I'm saying that if something like this was to happen, it would be months from now, okay? But I'm just wondering if we need to talk to the people in a different way than what's been going on, to find out their thoughts and then see if through this conversation, we can drive a new positive change. That's my goal. Did anyone understand what I just said?
Yes.
I think I did.
Yes, I understand.
So again, I'm going to say this again, not closing transfer station. But I'm wondering if maybe we should maybe look at a new way. That's all.
So,
Any questions?
no, I think on putting it under the new business as you did, I think for the next meeting and our future meetings, that we should further look at all of these issues and discuss it. And it would be ideal, hopefully in the near future, like you said, in a few months, to maybe be able to do it in person as opposed to on Zoom. But I think, I think getting the information out there as far as what's involved, and also finding out what people want and so forth. I mean, we lost 300 permits just this last year. Where did those people go? So,
Right, and I suspect a lot of it had to do with COVID, people not wanting to go out, not being able to go out. I know that a lot of people do discuss like the differences of the prices versus the transfer station versus, having somebody come to their house. I still think it's cheaper, the transfer station. Every time I see these conversations online, I think, why are you spending that money when it's cheaper? But I don't know their individual needs. But I think it would maybe be a good idea, because it has been, it was August of 2014 when that conversation was kind of put to bed. The conversation was obviously different than what I'm proposing for a potential future conversation. But I think it's a good idea to maybe kind of touch base again with the people and find out what is going on and if we can affect a positive change. So that's what I would like to, I'd just like everyone to kind of think about that and maybe come up with some ideas as to what to do. Obviously, we could send out a survey. My concerns with that is that sometimes the way the envelope looks, people check it because they think it's junk mail. You know, so there's a problem. Trying to do online surveys and everything, sometimes that's a problem. You keep trying to get the word out and, you know, not enough people get the word or whatnot. So just things like this to think about. Okay.
Yep.
So, all right, anything else under new business? Okay. All right, scheduling of a next meeting. Now, last year, we had talked about meeting at least every 2 months. COVID hit and it's just been down there. I'd like to see if we can do that so that we can stay on top of things. I understand that sometimes, you know, when that meeting comes up, maybe there's nothing really to discuss for an hour, that's fine. Even if it's like a 30-minute update so that we're all staying on top of things. So when should we schedule the next meeting for?
We had been doing the fourth Tuesday at 4, which seems to work. So the next one would be April 27th at 4. And then you could do one in June if you want to do it every other month until we get into the fall. It's just a suggestion.
Robert, can you remind me when town meeting is? I'm sorry.
That's the 26th.
Ah,
Yeah, I don't know about you, but
I
I
might
think
need a little
everybody's gonna be
downtime.
exhausted on the 27th.
Okay.
So I know the 4th, I mean, we could wait till the 4th Tuesday of May, if that's what everyone wanted to do, which that would be after town meeting, after elections, everything should be settled down.
Yeah,
Does that work?
That sounds good.
that sounds good. Fourth Tuesday of May at 4, which would be the 25th. 25th of May at 4. And I'll send out a reminder in advance and a reminder also looking for any agenda topics. And Janice has one under new, under the new business. Okay,
All right. Well, this was a good meeting. So, all right, so we'll all be together again tomorrow night for the public
Yes.
hearing with the board. And unless there's something else, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second,
Okay, I'll take a roll call vote. Mark Smith,
aye.
Mark Wetzel,
Aye.
Pam Martin,
Aye.
Lisa Gabri,
aye.
Robert,
aye.
Rich,
Aye.
chair says aye. And we are adjourned.